My beloved child, last night when the world went quiet and the noise of everyone else's thoughts faded, one person could not sleep because your presence kept pressing against their mind in a way they could not ignore. They did not see your face by accident, and they did not feel your energy by coincidence. What came to them was sharp, vivid, and unsettling, like a message that refused to be softened. They saw you standing at the edge of something important, something that has been slowly moving toward you without making a sound. In that moment, they understood that you are not where you think you are in life, and that the silence around you is not emptiness but a pause before impact. Their chest tightened because the premonition was not gentle. It carried urgency, weight, and a truth they were not prepared to hold alone. They realized that you have been walking forward while something behind you has been rearranging itself to meet you at the exact second you least expect it. This is why their sleep broke again and again, because every time they closed their eyes, the same feeling returned, telling them that you are about to be seen differently by the world around you. What shook them most was not fear for you, but recognition. They recognized that you are about to step into a version of your life that cannot be undone once it begins. It began with a single detail that would not leave them alone, a small moment in the vision that felt insignificant but carried the greatest meaning. They saw you hesitate, just briefly, as if sensing that something was watching, waiting, and measuring your readiness. In the premonition, that hesitation was the turning point. Before it, everything felt familiar. After it, nothing was the same. They felt an overwhelming pull to warn you, yet they also understood that this is not something that can be explained plainly. The message was layered, emotional, and deeply personal to you. It spoke of a truth you have been circling for a long time without naming. It showed them that someone around you has been quietly adjusting their behavior, preparing for a moment when their real intentions will no longer be hidden. This person is not a stranger. They exist close enough to affect your daily rhythm, close enough to notice your silences, close enough to feel threatened by your growth. The premonition revealed that you are about to trigger a reaction simply by being yourself, and once that reaction begins, it will expose everything that has been concealed until now. What made the vision impossible to forget was the emotional shift they felt on your behalf, a sudden release of pressure followed by clarity. They saw you finally understanding why certain delays, disappointments, and strange redirections happened in your past. The premonition connected those moments like pieces of a pattern that only now makes sense. You were not being blocked. You were being positioned. They felt relief for you because the vision showed that the confusion you have been carrying is nearing its end. However, relief came with intensity, because clarity always demands a choice. The message showed that when this moment arrives, you will have the chance to step forward without apology, but doing so will change how others relate to you. Some will respect you more. Some will distance themselves. And one will reveal a truth they hoped would never surface. The person who saw this understood that you are stronger than you realize, yet they also felt the emotional weight of knowing that growth is rarely comfortable. This is why they woke up with your energy still echoing inside them, unable to shake the sense that you are standing at the threshold of something irreversible. Another layer of the premonition unfolded as a feeling rather than an image, and this is what unsettled them the most. They felt your resilience being tested in a quiet but decisive way. Not through chaos, but through calm. Not through loss, but through realization. They sense that you will soon recognize your own value so clearly that it will disrupt existing dynamics. This recognition will not come from praise or validation, but from an internal certainty that cannot be argued with. The vision showed that once you feel this certainty, you will stop explaining yourself, and that silence will speak louder than any confrontation. Someone in your life is not ready for that silence. Someone depends on your doubt to maintain their comfort. The premonition revealed that when you withdraw that doubt, the balance will shift, and the truth will surface naturally. They understood that this moment has been approaching for a long time, but it required your patience, your endurance, and your willingness to keep moving even when nothing seemed to change. By the time morning came, the person who received this premonition felt a deep responsibility, as if they had been trusted with a message meant only for you. They understood that the vision was not meant to scare you, but to prepare you. It was a reminder that you are not invisible, that your presence has consequences, and that your next step matters more than you know. They felt certainty that when the moment arrives, you will recognize it instantly, because it will feel both unfamiliar and strangely right. The premonition ended with a calm sense of inevitability, not doom, not chaos, but alignment. It showed that what is coming toward you has been shaped by your choices, your resilience, and your refusal to give up when clarity was missing. This is why they could not sleep. This is why your energy reached them. And this is why this message exists now, at the exact moment you were meant to hear it. What followed that night was not noise or chaos, but a quiet rearranging of invisible threads, and this is where the premonition deepened in a way that cannot be ignored. The person who saw this did not just feel concern, they felt certainty, the kind that settles into the body and refuses to be questioned. They understood that you are about to notice signs you once dismissed as coincidence, and each one will land with more precision than the last. A sentence overheard at the right time. A pause in someone's voice that lingers too long. A sudden opportunity that arrives without warning. None of these will stand alone. Together, they will form a message that speaks directly to your intuition, asking you to trust what you feel even if logic tries to interrupt. The premonition showed that the moment you stop second-guessing yourself, everything accelerates. Doors that felt heavy will open without resistance, while doors you thought were essential will quietly close, saving you from paths that were never meant to sustain you. This is not loss. This is alignment taking shape in real time. As the vision continued, they sensed a shift in how others perceive you, subtle at first, but undeniable once it begins. You will notice eyes lingering a second longer, conversations changing tone, and reactions that feel slightly out of place. This is because your energy is about to stabilize into something firm and unmistakable. The premonition revealed that someone around you has been aware of this change long before you were. They have watched you grow calmer, more self-contained, and less reactive, and this has unsettled them. Their comfort depended on your uncertainty, on your willingness to explain, to compromise, to wait. When that pattern breaks, they will be forced to respond. The vision did not show confrontation, but exposure. Not through words, but through behavior that reveals exactly where their intentions lie. You will not need proof. Their actions will speak clearly enough. Another powerful layer of the premonition was the realization that what is coming is not something you need to chase. It is already in motion, already adjusting itself to meet you at the precise moment you are ready. The person who saw this understood that you have been preparing without realizing it, through patience, restraint, and resilience built during times when progress felt invisible. The vision showed you standing steady while circumstances shift around you, no longer pulled off balance by other people's expectations. This steadiness is what triggers the turning point. When you stop reacting and start observing, clarity arrives naturally. You will recognize who is meant to walk with you forward and who cannot follow you where you are going. This separation will feel calm, not dramatic, because by then you will understand that not everyone is meant to access the next version of your life. What made this part of the premonition especially intense was the sense of timing attached to it. The person felt that this is not a distant future or a vague promise. It is close enough to be felt in your daily rhythm. Something you are about to hear, see, or realize will act as the final confirmation. Once that happens, hesitation will dissolve. The vision showed you making a decision quietly, without announcing it, and that decision will change how you carry yourself. Others will feel it immediately. Some will feel inspired. Some will feel exposed. And one will feel regret for not recognizing your value sooner. This is not about proving anything. It is about finally standing where you belong without shrinking yourself for the comfort of others. When the premonition ended, the overwhelming feeling was not urgency, but trust. Trust that you will know exactly what to do when the moment arrives. Trust that everything you have endured was shaping your awareness, not punishing you. And trust that what is about to unfold will confirm what you have felt deep inside but never fully claimed. The person who received this message understands now that you do not need guidance, permission, or validation. You need recognition, and that recognition is coming from within first. Once it settles, the world around you will respond accordingly. This is why the vision was so clear. This is why it carried weight. And this is why what comes next will feel inevitable, purposeful, and impossible to ignore. What the premonition revealed next was the moment when everything that once felt confusing suddenly aligns with precision, and this is where the intensity sharpens. The person who witnessed this felt a surge of clarity moving toward you, not as a dramatic event, but as an undeniable realization that settles into your awareness. You will notice that something you have been questioning for a long time no longer requires effort to understand. The answer will appear fully formed, without debate, without hesitation. In the vision, this realization landed quietly, yet it carried more power than any external confirmation ever could. It marked the end of inner conflict and the beginning of self-trust. From that moment, your decisions become cleaner, your boundaries firmer, and your presence more grounded. This shift will not announce itself loudly, but it will alter how others respond to you almost immediately. As the scene unfolded further, the premonition exposed a truth about influence, showing that your calm will begin to unsettle environments that once felt stable. You are about to outgrow a role you were unconsciously placed into, one where your patience was mistaken for availability and your kindness for compliance. The vision showed you stepping out of that role without confrontation, simply by no longer participating in dynamics that drain you. This withdrawal will create a noticeable absence, and that absence will speak louder than words ever could. Someone will realize too late that your presence was holding things together more than they understood. Another will recognize that they can no longer control the narrative around you. This is not rebellion. This is evolution, and it will happen naturally once you stop doubting your instincts. A particularly striking part of the premonition was the emotional release attached to this transition. The person felt a sense of relief for you, as if a long-held tension finally dissolves. You will notice yourself breathing deeper, thinking clearer, and responding instead of reacting. This internal shift is what unlocks the next phase. The vision showed opportunities presenting themselves not as sudden miracles, but as logical next steps that feel strangely obvious in hindsight. You will wonder why you ever questioned your readiness. This is because your growth has been happening quietly, beneath the surface, waiting for the moment your awareness catches up. When it does, momentum builds quickly. Another layer of the premonition revealed that not everyone will celebrate this change, and that is where discernment becomes essential. You will sense subtle resistance from someone who benefits from the old version of you. Their discomfort will show through hesitation, distance, or unexpected behavior that feels out of alignment with who they claim to be. The vision showed that you will not confront this directly. Instead, you will simply stop adjusting yourself to maintain harmony. That choice will create clarity without conflict. It will become obvious who respects your growth and who resents it. This realization will not hurt the way it once might have, because by then you will understand that not everyone is meant to move forward with you. When the premonition reached its final moments, the dominant feeling was empowerment grounded in calm certainty. The person who saw this understood that you are stepping into a phase where your life begins to respond to your internal alignment rather than external pressure. You will no longer feel the need to rush, prove, or explain. The right connections will recognize you instantly. The wrong ones will fade without drama. And the path ahead will feel clear, not because it is easy, but because it finally reflects who you have become. This is the moment the vision was pointing toward. This is the shift that changes everything. And this is why the premonition could not be ignored. What emerged next in the premonition was the awareness of a hidden turning point that arrives disguised as an ordinary moment, and this is where many would miss it if they were not paying attention. The person who saw this felt a tightening sense of focus around you, as if time itself slows for a brief window so you can see clearly. In the vision, you were not rushed, pushed, or pressured. You were simply present, and that presence changed everything. A conversation, a message, or a silent realization carried more meaning than it appeared to on the surface. It revealed exactly where you stand and exactly how much influence you hold without forcing it. This is the moment when you stop wondering whether you matter and start observing how others adjust when you do not bend. The shift is subtle, but once it happens, you will never return to the old pattern. The premonition showed that someone close to you will struggle internally during this phase, not because you have done anything wrong, but because your clarity reflects what they have been avoiding. They will sense that you are no longer available for confusion, half-truths, or emotional uncertainty. This realization will create distance before it creates honesty. Their behavior may feel inconsistent, as if they are trying to decide whether to step forward with truth or step back into comfort. You will notice this without judgment. The vision made it clear that you will not chase explanations or reassurance. Instead, you will allow space to reveal what words never could. This restraint is powerful, because it places responsibility exactly where it belongs. Another striking element of the premonition was the way your confidence stabilizes without becoming rigid. You will not feel hardened or closed off. You will feel clear. The person who witnessed this felt a deep respect for the way you hold your ground without needing approval. Your decisions will feel lighter because they are no longer fueled by fear of loss. You will begin to understand that what leaves your life during this phase was never meant to define it. The vision showed you choosing alignment over attachment, and that choice unlocks a new level of self-respect. Others will sense this immediately, even if they cannot explain why your presence suddenly feels different. As the scene continued, the premonition revealed a moment of confirmation that arrives quietly but lands deeply. Something you once hoped for will respond to you differently now, not because it changed, but because you did. This response will feel validating without being dramatic. It will show you that your patience was not wasted and that your restraint was shaping outcomes behind the scenes. The person who saw this felt certainty that this confirmation will erase lingering doubts you have carried for a long time. From that point forward, your energy shifts from waiting to allowing. You will no longer feel the need to push life forward. It will begin to meet you naturally. When this part of the premonition settled, the final emotion was calm authority. Not control, not dominance, but grounded self-awareness. The person understood that you are entering a phase where your choices shape your environment rather than the other way around. You will recognize what deserves your attention and what no longer does, and this discernment will protect your peace effortlessly. This is not an ending. It is a stabilization before expansion. And once this stability sets in, everything that comes next will build upon it with precision, purpose, and clarity that cannot be shaken. What the premonition revealed next was the moment when your inner certainty becomes so steady that it begins to reshape your external reality without effort, and this is where the power quietly multiplies. The person who witnessed this felt a deep stillness surrounding you, the kind that only appears when struggle is no longer necessary. In the vision, you were not trying to prove anything. You were simply standing in your truth, and that alone altered the direction of events around you. Situations that once demanded explanation no longer asked for it. People who once questioned you began adjusting their tone without being asked. This is because your energy had settled into alignment, and alignment carries authority without needing volume. The premonition showed that once this phase begins, you stop seeking clarity because clarity begins responding to you instead. As the scene unfolded, the vision focused on a subtle but powerful change in how you relate to time. You will no longer feel rushed by delays or anxious about pauses. Instead, you will sense that everything unfolds when it is ready to meet you, not when you force it. The person who saw this understood that your patience has matured into wisdom. You are no longer waiting in uncertainty. You are waiting in awareness. This shift changes how opportunities approach you. They arrive cleanly, without confusion, without mixed signals, and without the emotional weight you once carried. You will recognize the right moment instinctively, and when you move, it will feel effortless rather than exhausting. This is when life stops feeling like a test and starts feeling like a conversation that finally makes sense. Another layer of the premonition revealed the quiet withdrawal of distractions that once demanded your energy. The vision showed that you will naturally lose interest in dynamics that no longer serve your growth. Not out of resentment, but out of clarity. You will notice yourself choosing peace over engagement, truth over convenience, and depth over noise. Someone who once relied on your emotional availability will feel this shift and struggle to understand it. They may attempt to reconnect with familiar patterns, but the premonition made it clear that you will not respond the way you used to. You will remain calm, respectful, and distant where necessary. This distance will not be cold. It will be intentional. And through it, you will protect the balance you have worked so hard to build. The vision then moved toward a moment of recognition that feels deeply personal and quietly transformative. You will realize that you no longer measure your worth by outcomes, reactions, or external validation. Your value will feel self-evident, grounded, and unshakable. The person who saw this felt a sense of completion around you, as if a long chapter of self-questioning finally closes. This realization will not come from success alone, but from self-respect. You will see clearly how far you have come, not just in achievements, but in emotional strength, discernment, and resilience. This recognition will change how you show up everywhere. You will speak less, listen more, and act with precision. And in doing so, you will naturally attract situations that reflect this maturity back to you. When the premonition reached its final moments in this phase, the overwhelming feeling was readiness without urgency. The person understood that you are no longer preparing for what comes next. You are already positioned for it. Everything you have endured has refined your awareness, sharpened your instincts, and strengthened your boundaries. What approaches you now will do so with respect, because you no longer tolerate what diminishes you. This is the stage where your life begins responding to your alignment rather than testing it. The calm you feel will not be temporary. It will be the foundation upon which everything else is built. And once this foundation settles fully, the next shift will arrive naturally, carrying expansion, recognition, and purpose that feels unmistakably yours. What the premonition revealed next was the approach of a defining realization that changes how you see your own role in everything that unfolds around you. The person who witnessed this felt a deep sense of inevitability, not because events were out of control, but because you were finally stepping into full awareness of your influence. In the vision, you recognize that your presence alone alters outcomes, not through force, but through clarity. You will notice that situations begin resolving themselves once you decide where you stand. Confusion dissolves when you stop negotiating with it. This moment will feel subtle on the surface, yet internally it will mark a clear line between who you were and who you are becoming. From this point forward, you will no longer underestimate the weight of your choices. As the vision continued, it showed a shift in how others respond to your silence. What once may have been ignored now carries meaning. When you choose not to react, not to explain, not to fill the space itself becomes revealing. Someone will attempt to test this silence, expecting the old version of you to return. They will wait for reassurance, engagement, or emotional availability. It will not come. Not out of detachment, but out of self-respect. The premonition made it clear that this is where power changes hands without confrontation. You will not need to say no. Your energy will already have answered. This realization will be unsettling for those who benefited from your doubt, and grounding for those who truly see you. Another layer of the premonition focused on your intuition sharpening into something precise and reliable. You will no longer question the first signal you receive. That initial feeling, the quiet knowing, will prove accurate again and again. The person who saw this understood that this is the result of everything you have endured. Experience has refined your awareness. You will sense when something is aligned and when it is not, without needing external confirmation. This will save you time, energy, and emotional weight. Decisions will feel lighter because they are rooted in truth rather than fear. When you move, it will be deliberate. When you pause, it will be intentional. Nothing will feel accidental anymore. The premonition then revealed a moment where you consciously choose yourself without hesitation, and this choice changes the direction of your path. It will not feel dramatic. It will feel right. You will step away from something that once held significance, not because it failed, but because you outgrew it. This decision will create space, and into that space, something more aligned will begin to form. The vision showed that you will not rush to fill the gap. You will trust the process, knowing that what belongs to you arrives without force. This trust will stabilize you in a way that cannot be shaken by external pressure. When this phase of the premonition settled, the final feeling was quiet authority rooted in self-alignment. The person understood that you are entering a period where your life reflects your inner clarity with increasing accuracy. What no longer matches your energy will fall away naturally. What resonates will draw closer without resistance. You will no longer feel the need to chase, convince, or prove. Your presence will be enough. This is the stage where your path becomes unmistakably your own. And from here, everything that unfolds will do so with intention, precision, and a sense of purpose that feels deeply familiar and undeniably true.